But for you, has sex been a way that you validated yourself? Has that been a way that you've,
Oh yeah, no,
a currency?
I was thinking it had a lot to do with my old sex and love addiction stuff.
Yeah, of
That I was
course.
always like beep 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 beep,
Right.
always kind of looking on my screen about like,
Yes.
and then I forget that it's a spectrum, that not everybody's sexual. Like there are some people who just aren't sexual. There are some people who just don't in the way that I do. I mean, you just said you're not thinking about ripping anybody's clothes off. You're just thinking, I like the way they look. I'm thinking
Yeah.
past that.
I mean, for sure. I mean, kind of I think probably to the far extreme, there's people who are, I should say extreme, but like kind of on one end of the spectrum, there are people who are asexual, who don't really experience any of those kind of sexual
Right.
thoughts or desires, things like that, are not interested in having sex.
That would be
But
unusual.
it's not like, a binary thing. Either it's that or it's all the time. Obviously, it's kind of it's a whole spectrum. And so everybody kind of falls anywhere along that spectrum. I guess my question for you is the amount to which you're thinking about sex, does it feel intrusive? Does it feel problematic? Are you judging it?
No,
Like, what's the thing?
no. I think I just noticed it because I was alone for 5 days. I mean, I
Right.
have friends there and I had dinner with people, but for the most part, I was walking around and I was alone with my thoughts, and I was like, "Wow, dude, you think about sex a lot."
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah,
that's the observation, right? Like that's
yeah.
just data for you. The
That's the
observation that you're
observation.
the
Yeah,
observation. Oh, there's a lot
I
of thoughts
didn't.
that are coming up
Yeah,
about sex. What's the meaning that you attach to that?
I'm wondering like if that is like typical, or does that seem like a lot? Like, is it typical
So you're
for
questioning if there's something wrong with it. Let's say,
No, I
let's
kind of want to
say,
know where I am on the spectrum.
okay, but so let's say on the spectrum,
Uh-huh.
you're to the far end where it's a lot. What would that mean to you?
It,
If you thought about sex much more than the average person, what would that mean
okay.
to you?
Um, Nothing. It would just be useful information. It'd be like, okay, well
What would
that
you
makes
use it
sense.
for? What would it mean?
That lines up. I would get a sash and a crown, and it would say Miss thinks about sex the most 2021.
Well, how wonderful. I love how non-judgmental you're assessing your own sexual desires, because it's
Listen,
very easy. Listen, it's very easy for us, especially, kind of in this country and
yes.
in this culture, for us to have so much shame around sex, especially as, kind of queer people too, to have so much shame around that because like we're rooted in these puritanical beliefs. That's just kind of the way that our
Right.
culture has been set up. And so anything that operates outside of the very narrow window of
Uh,
having sex, while married to someone of the opposite sex or gender for the sake of procreation,
mhm,
like if it's
mhm,
not that narrow thing, anything
mhm.
outside of that leaves us really susceptible to shame, to think that there's something wrong or kind of sinful
Okay.
about it.
All right. So you don't think about it as much as I do.